Power outages can happen at any time, without warning, and can leave your home powerless for days. Hilscher Clarke has partnered with Generac to bring you the #1 selling home standby generator brand, engineered and built in the USA since 1959. With a home standby generator, your home will never lose power again. Generac generators activate automatically in the event of any power loss and restore power to your home within seconds. Don't leave your home unprotected. Trust only the best. Hilscher Clarke's residential division are experts in their profession and go above and beyond to provide you with quality, efficient service at a fair price. Starting with the estimate, they keep you informed regarding status and completion of your projects. They also give you shorter arrival windows and send you email and text confirmations of your scheduled service appointment, as well as notifications when their electricians are on their way to your home. Hilscher Clarke's Google reviews speak for themselves, with more than 270 reviews and 4.9 stars. And if you've just recently purchased an electric vehicle but don't want to rely on public chargers to keep your battery full, Hilscher Clarke has all the juice you can handle for your home vehicle charging needs. Hilscher Clarke is a certified Q Merit Solutions partner, making them market leaders in electrification and recommended by local dealerships. Visit them online at www.hilscher-clarke.com. That's HILSCHER-CLARKE.com. Or stop down and see them at 519 4th Street Northwest in downtown Canton. Or contact Hilscher Clarke today at 330-452-9806. That's 330-452-9806. Remember, it's your home, it's our family. Trust only the best. Hilscher Clarke Electric Company. Welcome in, everybody, to Start Media High School Football Weekly. I'm TJ Downing, joined by Jim Bostic, Jeff Tyler, and Rod Strata, and we're here at a great little location inside of Canton. Our good friends here at Nathan's Patio, Nate Millman, his wife Mariah Millman, are hosting us here for this episode as we get ready for Week 10 of Ohio High School Football Rivalry Week. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't stopped out here to Nathan's Patio, they always have something going on. Doesn't matter, Monday, Tuesday, all the way through to Sunday. Great deals, great food specials, great drinks. And how about with Week 10, Rivalry Week, we know that Massillon and McKinley will square off over at Tom Benson Stadium this Saturday morning. So make sure you pop over here at 8 o'clock. They're going to have Kegs and Eggs. At noon, they will have Ohio State and Penn State. Country Rain will take the stage right here that we're on at 9:30. Also, the night before, Friday, Elliott Twist will be on stage at 9:30. You're going to have a lot of different food and drinks again. Rock it all the way until the morning for Kegs and Eggs. And also, the world-famous Nathan's Patio Halloween Party. That's going to be October 28th. I believe that Jim is going to enter as, well, Margaret will be Snow White. You will be one of the dwarves?
One of the dwarves.
Ooh, boy.
Right. Wait a minute. Before we get too deep into today's show, who the hell gave me this chair?
Well, Margaret called us, and she said, listen, guys, I'm tired of you guys picking on him. Could you just maybe get the bigger chair for him and make him feel bigger?
And Rod, you had to get the high chair.
At least he can sit with the big boys now.
No, actually, I'm above the big boys.
There you go.
All right, forget this noise, man. Give me a friggin' chair.
October 28th, you're going to also have Cavs and Pacers playing at 7:30. You will have Ohio State, Wisconsin. How about Luke Fickell getting his first shot back at Ohio State? The legendary DeSales wrestler, football player, one of the all-time great Ohio State defensive linemen. Dude straight up played with one arm in the Rose Bowl against Arizona State. I don't know how much tougher
Hey, when we do combat sports, I've got a great Luke Fickell, Ray Edmonds story, state championship. We'll save that for combat sports.
Maybe one of the only guys ever to win it at two different weight classes.
Absolutely. Pinned his way through the friggin' tournament.
Unreal. Costume contest prizes. You're going to have best group, sexiest, best overall. We know who got sexiest. He's sitting right here to the left of me.
Somebody's got to be the eye candy.
And as him and his partner, Dave Bircher, got welcomed back with the red carpet down there at Garraway this past Friday night. A great football game in the IVC between Garraway and Sandy Valley. Sandy Valley would fall 14-10. It was the welcome home party for Dave Bircher, who was a longtime coach there under Don Hertler Jr. I know that was pretty special for you guys. You can kind of tell us a little bit about it, but I don't think a whole lot of people expected the score to be that close, Jim. Great call, by the way. We got a chance to listen to it afterwards because I had a running clock game out there.
As did we.
We did.
But a cool little side note here for me, even though Sandy Valley would drop this one, Chapin Greer set the all-time single-season sack record for the Sandy Valley Cardinals at 14.5. So you lose 14-10, but you take that away, man. That was a great ball game you got to see.
No, absolutely. Start off with what you said, Teej. Guys, I'll tell you what, it was so cool. Dave was beaming. I mean, on the way up, I think the guy was starting glowing, right?
Yeah.
So he get in, and everybody came over to see him. It was pretty cool.
Great.
A lot of pictures, shaking hands. I mean, a couple students came up. Hey, Mr. Bircher. I mean,
That's cool.
as a former teacher and that, it's really cool when your people come up. But let me ask you guys, if you were to start that game prior to, and I said, well, one team had a lot of penalties, the other team had 4 turnovers, who would have come away? Because penalties and turnovers can flip games. So.
Yep.
And that's kind of what happened Friday night there over at Garraway with the Pirates. Garraway, 4 turnovers that night.
I was going to say, Garraway, you're saying, was played a little bit undisciplined Friday.
Oh, yeah, yes, from what we have watched,
yeah,
absolutely. But I'll tell you what, Sandy Valley, and we've watched Sandy Valley, we've talked about them a lot.
Yep.
Man, they had opportunities, guys, but the Yellow Hankies came out at the wrong time. Face mask, hit out of bounds. Even on the last series, right, the game's 14-10. There's a minute 10 left in the game. It's, 4th down. Sandy Valley holds, penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct, moves the ball forward, and they just take the victory position.
It's a shame that Sandy Valley wasn't able to pull that upset off because they're going to be in playoffs most likely.
Yep.
But you knock off a number 2. Those are some big computer points there for you to maybe have home field advantage for the first week. But still they're hanging around at number 9 after week 9. So they get a win this week, they'll be in good shape.
But Garraway actually lived up to their bookings, right? I mean, they came in pretty strong.
Oh, no, absolutely right. I'll tell you what. But the one thing, and TJ pointed out at the beginning, Dave made a point, in our pregame show, the McNeill and Sons Tree Service pregame show, that Garraway, 40-point average per game. Yeah. So in that first series, Geibel hits, Garber on a long 68-yard pass, scores right in and he goes. And Dave and I are like, "Yep, we got 40. Right. Here we go. Here it starts." But I'll tell you what, Sandy Valley buckled down, but it just wasn't enough for that night. Overall, I'll tell you what, guys, too, and being a little vertically challenged, we have some fun with the chairs and all. They're running back for Garraway, Dylan Sunland. This little guy stood next to Geibel for Garraway. Didn't come up to his shoulders, right? And usually when we've talked about the juke backs, Kraft and Thompson and these guys, a little bit of shiftiness. This cat goes through the hole, and, I mean, he wants to run like the big boys. Yeah. Shoulders square, head up. He's just hammering through. And I'll tell you what, in fact, Dylan was our Hilscher Clarke Electric player of the game. But I'll tell you what, just a great fun night. But, I'll tell you, in the last, going into this week number 10, Garraway travels over to Ridgewood. Now, Ridgewood, of course, we know, right there with everybody. I mean, 10-game season, Rod, and all of us know as athletes, it's really hard to run the table. And, of course, then Sandy Valley goes over to Tusky Valley on their last game. But, you know what, guys, overall, Nick Petro is the offense. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Did a great job. That young man can move. The feet come out or when he decides to run. And, overall, great job. One guy on defense I do want to point out because on that last series, he must have made 4 of the tackles. And, boy, I'm not going to see it here in my notes. Shame on me. Jack Murphy. I'll tell you what, Junior Jack Murphy on the last series. So 30 is Sunland's number, 30 is Murphy's number. I think Murphy stopped Sunland probably 4 times on that last series. Wow. It was pretty cool. But overall, Teach, great game, guys. Very exciting.
I feel like you also mentioned too that if there was instant replay, there was a play at the end of that game there that could have maybe gone Sandy Valley's way that. Dave had mentioned to us at the end there, it's tough. The officials trying to be in the right place at the right time. But, one call can go your way.
Absolutely. And it was on our sideline, right? So it was on the home side. That's kind of maybe why Dave got a little – and, again, I don't think – truly Dave's been just an utmost professional. Great pickup for the Stark Media team. And, Dave, we're both watching, and pass is thrown. Geibel throws a pass, defensive back, and all he does is kind of put his hand on his chest. There was no push. There was no jump, just hand on chest. Rip, flag goes. Yeah. And Dave and I kind of looked at each other, and, he knows better than I. And I'm like, was that interference? And he goes, well, he says, I think if that would have been on the other side, we might not have seen the flag. So I don't know.
That's how the cookie crumbles. All right, how about a lot of cookies over there for the Glen Oak Golden Eagles.
Big cookies.
Hey, freshman team is eating good tonight because Nathan, he has actually just left here. He is going to feed the freshman football team there at Glen Oak. So, again, salute to everything that Nate does here. Him and his wife, Mariah, always giving back to the community. They've supported hundreds of softball teams and adult men's leagues around the area. So, Nate and them, they always give back in their community doing that for the freshman team. For the Glen Oak Golden Eagles, but the varsity, Austin Morrison, first career touchdown, last drive of the game in Tom Benson Stadium. snags it out of the middle of the air, Jeff, for a game winner. If you beat McKinley 7-3, if you would have told me last week when we made our picks, right? Now, I believe I did pick the Golden Eagles.
You did.
Yes, you did. Well done.
Nothing against the green and gold. And I got a chance to see Mike Cook, defensive coordinator, after the game. I said, if you'd have told me that you were going to keep this McKinley offense from scoring a touchdown, I'd have said you're crazy. Yeah. But they did it.
Unbelievable. And, it took about 5 minutes for Austin's dad to text me on what just went down when I was in the booth. God bless that guy. He's always talking his kid up, as he should. Austin's been working his butt off all summer long and
hopefully one of these colleges
season long. And he's been thinking he's going to go play baseball, but, he started to get on the radar a little bit going to these camps. And the coaches said, we need to see you catch the rock. We know you can block as good as anybody. We need to see you in space and catch the ball. They weren't throwing the ball to him a whole lot early on. Halfway through the season, they started, looking that way and got in that red zone, and that was one heck of a play.
I also don't think that they were actually throwing the ball to him. They
thought you were going deep behind him?
He was going behind him. Austin just went up there and snagged it.
Yeah, he just went got it.
Heady play.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really notice the guy behind, but
I don't think it gets completed if he leaves it for the guy in the back.
It was pretty crowded behind him, so heck of a play. He went up, made the catch, and his dad did correct the story that not his first career touchdown. He's seventh and eighth grade. He was scoring some TDs too. So
you have the inside scoop.
Oh yeah, his dad was texting me immediately for sure. So
good dude. Shout out to Mike Morrison, always following us and
great
watching.
Guy.
Rod, for McKinley, how hard is that? People have always said for years, when they were playing Perry before they would play Massillon, that Perry would always have their number. They were beating them under Wake for a long time. And they're like, oh, you looking forward, right? But, you've got to find a way to rebound quickly when you're getting ready to play this. You got this monster coming in here to play you in your home field, and you just lost 7-3. That's a really quick turnaround for Antonio Hall and the boys.
It is. I'm really, again, congratulations to Glen Oak. I know when Jeff and I were in the booth, we were looking for the score. It was 3-0 McKinley, and all of a sudden we see final 7-3. And it was up on the Lake scoreboard as well, right? Right. And anyway, there was another person in the booth that kind of rubbed that in on. But I won't see who that was. Has to do with the local paper. But anyway, no, there's no.
Get him, Rod. Get him.
Well, yeah.
It's 45 years ago. We're good, bud.
Let it go, Rod. Let it go.
Some things you just can't forget. But no, seriously, I mean, I think McKinley has really got to figure it out this week, and I just don't. And again, they have a good ball club. I just don't know if they can.
That's the biggest issue to me, Rod, is that, you look at a four-pack of receivers that just DJ Britt, Quincy, who's going to Akron now. You've got Xavier, who transferred over from Glen Oak, right, Jeff? You've got Dante McClellan, Alex Vasquez. You've got a two-headed monster, Stephon Thomas, Hill. The quarterback, Rhodey, a huge offensive line. You would think you'd get more production out of that, right?
Well, you would. But, again, we'll see what they're made of this week because it's just like, the Ohio State-Michigan game, Michigan State-Michigan game. Anything can happen. McKinley might be able to come out and say, you know what, we're going to figure this out. We had a bad week last week. This week we're going to just really come out and hammer it. But on the flip side, my thoughts are if Massillon comes out and just is aggressive and like Lake was against Jackson.
Yeah.
Right? They come out on defense and they just smack McKinley around. It might be a long day for the Bulldogs.
Might be one of the best defenses that the Tigers have had in a very, very long time. Tigers have won every game since 2015. Last quarterback to do it for McKinley is now a defensive end for the Chicago Bears, Dominique Robinson. So, a lot to get figured out, right? But, hey, a lot like what maybe you saw. How many people thought Garraway that game would be so close?
Right.
4 turnovers maybe go the way of McKinley. Now, I'm sure Nate Moore is not over there preaching 4 turnovers, but it happens. Well, that's the game of football. That's why you line up and play it, right, Jim?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, guys, reading some of the information, there were 2 quotes that really struck me. The first one, hats off to Milk, right? Adrian Burt. one of the things he said, it just so resonates, and all you athletes out there, right? He said, we just had to close our mouths and let our game speak.
Right.
And I want to tell you what, hats off to that young man. I love that, and I wish I'd have had that back when I was coaching. Just close your mouth, play your game, do what needs to be done. And I want to ask the two guys on the end here who have played. So the other quote that I looked at that really kind of puzzled me a little bit came from Coach Garcia, where he kind of said, we kind of sat, or not Coach Garcia, but Coach Hall. He said we kind of sat back, and didn't, pressure through. But it just struck me as why with the tools that you have in that toolbox, are we going to sit back?
I'll let them answer. They're smarter than I am with this, but I don't think he was referring to himself as opposed to those on the field.
Right.
We're sitting back.
Oh, no, I don't think it was himself. No,
No.
to me, I just read, prevent defense. I don't know.
Right. Well, my understanding
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Just talking to some folks that were there, again, our TJ and I's thoughts, and we weren't there. It would have been great to see the game. I'd like to see it on replay. But the folks that I spoke to are fans, and they just thought that McKinley didn't adjust.
Yeah.
Right? And that's interesting. You want, and again, I don't know because there's no way I'm not a whatever it is Saturday morning quarterback, right? But it's just that game still puzzles me.
Well,
Saturday morning OG, man.
From what I did see and from folks I talked to, I think Glen Oak had the ball for well over 20 minutes second half.
Yeah.
So they had long drives, sustained drives, kept the ball out of the hands of Keaton Rhodey.
Was 16 to 18 plays.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have going into that last drive. I think they only had 125 yards total offense.
They only had 7 first downs up to that point with 9:55 left in the game.
Think about that. They took that ball down the field, 18 plays. There was a minute 30 left when they were done, and the coup de grace was what? They pooch kick it to McKinley, fumble or whatever happened, and Glen Oak gets the ball back. Game over.
Yeah, two things, guys. You have a Division I tailback at recruit. He should be able to pick up 5 to 7 of those first downs on his own.
Yep.
And second thing, Antonio Hall coached under Scott Garcia. Glen Oak's not doing anything that you need to adjust to. You already know what they're going to do. They're going to line up. They want to run the ball. That's it. They're not doing air raid football. You knew what you were going to get.
Let's go back, and we'll move on, but let's go back a few weeks back, more than a few weeks, when we talked about where Coach Garcia was mentioning mental mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Game after game after game, then all of a sudden, those started slowing down. They started being removed. The game I called when Jeff's daughter got married was, against Jackson, right?
Yes.
And guess what? They didn't make those mental mistakes. They kept the ball the same way. At the end, they kept the ball as long as they needed to win the game. They didn't give it up.
Well, I'll say two things. Common opponent, Massillon, we debated this week 2 and week 3. Glen Oak playing powerhouses, playing Massillon, playing Fitch, and getting run.
Yeah.
And what did they learn from that? Apparently they learned some things from it because they put up, Massillon put 56 on them. So for them to go into McKinley's house, which, like you said, I think the last 2 times in McKinley's house, some strange things happened down the stretch.
It does.
Nothing happened this time, and they got the W. So kudos to them for them making that adjustment.
Yeah, to your point, Jeff, you remember we talked about, do teams get down if they play all these hard teams or these ranked teams, or does it make them better towards the end of the season?
Yeah, right, and that's what we debated. And now look, Glen Oak's sitting here at a 5-4 record with an 8 rank in their region. So, I mean, when you come playoff time, they're tested, they're healthy, and now they got a higher rank than they normally would have if they didn't play Fitch, if they didn't play McKinley, if they didn't play
strategic.
You'll be playing Perry this week for a chance to host a home game in the playoffs this week. Wow. That is huge for the Glen Oak Golden Eagles. Wouldn't have saw that here at the beginning of the season. For myself, I was out there at West Branch out in Beloit this past weekend with my partner Mark Milano. They brought in the Carrollton Warriors at 5-3, undefeated inside of the EBC. They were both 3-0. Wow. Smoke show, West Branch. This guy, Bo Alazos, is the truth.
Yep.
He has weapons himself. Love his running back, which we talked about a lot last week, Jeff Boston-Mullenix. Yep. He ran the ball effectively, but you really didn't even need to use him. When you've got Anthony Perry, when you've got Jeremiah Thomas, who was your Hilscher Clarke Electric player of the game, you mix in Joey Jackson. That's a 3-pack there.
Yeah, it is.
Let me tell you, the guy that I was so impressed with, and college coaches, get this tight end on your radar. Gavin Gregory, sophomore, 6'7", 220 pounds, bumped him out to the slot. Nobody can cover him. Nobody's going to cover this kid in the EBC. They're going to have a chance to go out here and play Salem this week and win an outright EBC title. West Branch, man, they've got the skill. Defensively, when they play somebody really tough in the playoffs, will they be able to shut those teams down? I know they'll be able to score the points. We're going to find out here in a couple weeks, but I'll tell you what, this is a really good Warrior football team.
Oh, I'll tell you what, the game we called, Jeff, when Jeff and I were out there, that quarterback was, like I mentioned last week, and again, nothing against the quarterback from Alliance. He's going to Oklahoma, which is outstanding.
Yeah.
But again, if you put just plain jerseys on these guys, they didn't know who was who.
Yeah.
The West Branch quarterback,
Alizos,
just, I mean, he's fantastic.
Well, and we went into that a little bit cold, seeing people on paper and not really seeing them live, not realizing the weapons Alizos has. When you talk about him, 3-4 stud guys out there, and then you got Molnex who can run the rock, who's going to be back next year. He's only a junior right now, so it's impressive.
They've got it going on, I'll tell you what. And it's 6'7" tight end. All you got to do is throw it up, right, TJ? And then who's going to be able to get up and do the jump ball with him?
The other thing I always like to highlight, offensive linemen, that's our deal here. And for, coming back off the backside of Drew DeShields, a great career. He's up there at Kent State now, Division I quarterback. But they replaced every offensive lineman off of that team last year, similar to what we talked about up there at Toth Buick GMC with Northwest. The Indians had to replace everybody. Dominic Slyman, Hayden Martin, Zach Gorby, Jax Brooks, Cameron Summers. These are all junior linemen who have gotten their first taste of varsity football this year. Give credit to them. You don't go 22 of 28 for 300-plus yards and 4 TDs without having some dudes in front of you.
Right.
No, they can run the ball, too. I mean, the guys up front are blocking well. But to your point, TJ, we'll see what that defense does, not to make it a track meet, right? The Alliance game. Weren't they up by almost 3 touchdowns at one point?
Yeah. Alliance came back late for sure, and they were running Alliance early. Right.
So they came out Alliance early, but then again, they gave up a lot of points. Mm-hmm. So you're right. Coming to the playoffs, the thing that's going to help West Branch big time is if that defense can step up and that offense continues to execute.
It's just like Canton South. Right.
Yep. Now, you guys were out there at the House at Durbin build out there in Uniontown. The Lake Blue Streaks had the Perry Panthers. Wow, the defense of Lake, just continues to dominate. I think Charlie Christopher, would you beg to say, has kind of put his name in the ring there as a maybe a potential Division I stud player.
I think so. Not only linebacker.
Colleges are on him.
Yeah, well, especially with the pedigree. His dad played at Ohio State, so. I didn't realize how good he could be on the offensive side of the ball, too. He was running the rock. But really, to me, the big difference in there was Nate Baker.
Oh, yeah. He's
175 pounds. He runs like he's 220. He was getting – I mean, his yak yards were off the chart. He was getting hit 2 yards deep at the line of scrimmage all night long, took contact, bounced it out, a couple sweet spin moves, and just took off. Found a seam, get into the house left and right. I knew what he could do on offense last year in defense.
Yeah.
But he was a wide receiver in a corner.
Yep.
He wasn't a running back last year.
No.
They had Solberger last year running all over people. Now you throw Nate Baker back there, who's 175, but he's running over people. It was impressive.
It was. But, in that game, Perry came out and with an advantage at the beginning, right? Perry came out, looked pretty aggressive. They score, right? They get 7 points. And Lake was a little, I wouldn't say sloppy, but they weren't up to their normal game.
They were on the heels
early
for sure.
on, right? And then all of a sudden, it became a one-sided affair for Lake. As Jeff mentioned, everybody was playing great for the Blue Streaks. And you're right, Nate Baker.
Yeah.
Right? And
well, like you said, Perry was really stopping them between the tackles early. They were stopping them a little bit from getting outside.
Right. They couldn't get wide.
Once they just threw a couple quick outs, opened that up a little bit, got a little bit to work to the boundary one way or another, and then all of a sudden the middle opened up, and Nate Baker just started trucking people.
And the wide lanes opened up as well. So, hence the running clock.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'll tell you, Nate Baker, Charlie Christopher combining the two of them for 212 yards rushing.
Yep.
Friday night, and as we talked about way back, I called Coach DeGeorge the master seamstress. And, you know, they are starting to get a little bit healthy, not quite where they're at.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Does he like that name?
I don't know. I really don't care because I gave it to him.
But you know, it not to cut you off.
Right. You guys might be
no,
looking
it's all right. He cut me off, but that's okay.
It wasn't just Nate Baker.
Well, we're trying to get your time down. The first part of this segment was like 15 minutes.
I mean,
first it's a chair, then it's my time. What? Is he cranky again?
Nah, man, I'll tell you what, he's on fire today because, say, Sparty on, baby.
Well, we've talked about their front seven, how good they are. So Lippy, Jarvis, Miller, those guys were all over it. But I'll also say Noah Kubaski, who was the backup quarterback, getting a little bit of time.
Yeah, right on.
Kill Jarvis had a little bit of injury. He came off the field. And I guess I think Noah's a stud pitcher, right?
Great pitcher.
Getting recruited, might be end up in an MLB. That's where that lefty comes from. He was throwing some good balls out there. So
yeah, he did throw some really good balls. When he came in, right? I mean, he was on the money, and then he got a little bit of adrenaline going. But all in all, when he came in, I think that was a great move by Lake because they get in the playoffs, and their number one quarterback maybe has an injury or such. Yeah. This guy will have some experience.
Now, for Perry, and I don't want to go too long on this, but Perry did a nice job of getting guys in space, getting them in the seam. But the quarterback overthrew a couple deep balls that were touchdowns and had, I think, 7 drop passes in the outs and in the flats. And, we talked about it that they're not traditionally a pass team.
Yeah.
So,
but still,
I don't know how much of those kids have trained on catching the rock, and it showed.
It was almost to the point of embarrassing because they would hit him right in the bread basket, drop, bread basket, drop, bread basket, drop.
You got to help your quarterback, and you got to be able to haul those in. Now, to the other thing, I'll never forget this as we sat there and we called the Perry-LaSalle game where Perry had an opportunity to win a state championship. But Max Baker didn't really throw the ball a whole lot throughout that game. So at the moment he had Tavion Cleveland coming across the middle for a wide-open touchdown, he goes and he one-hops the ball off the ground. If you haven't thrown the ball in a quarter and a half, how can you expect that quarterback to have any proper rhythm?
Correct.
That's just me, But when you think about a guy like Noah Kubaski, he goes out there against McKinley, was kind of pulling the team back into the thing. Then he gets hurt. So for him to be able to come back, that's great for Lake. Jim, when you start to look at this Hoover-Green game from this past week, and you're going to be out there at Green this week, we were looking through some numbers earlier that Mark Geis sent us over. Shout out to old number 75 there. For Green, they've had to go through some quarterbacks, to finally get things figured out and put themselves in a position now where, they're doing well. They're kind of they've Semino Manson going down. They've been able to overcome that. They've shifted around, brought in some backups. They've got experience now, and this is a good Green football team.
No, absolutely. I mean, Tyson Hunka coming in, again, as we talked about the one game when Manson went down. Actually, Logston went in. The next week, Tyson Hunka is your starting, quarterback.
3 guy coming out of training camp.
What's that?
He's your 3 guy coming out of training camp.
Number 3. But the other thing, though, that, Baglia was injured. He came back. I'm going to tell you what, this is a high-scoring, 41-34. It went back and forth. And there was a period of time within 42 seconds in the second quarter, they went 4 scores back and forth. I mean, North Canton starts it off. Zach Brocker, 39-yard touchdown throw. Again, Brocker. Dernlin was not able to play. Now, the rumor is Dernlin may be back Friday night. So it's really going to spice things up, I think, for that. And right away, Zach Baglia comes back, 70-yard target, kickoff return. So he returns the kickoff. Then right behind that, Mason Ashby, second play, 66-yard touchdown run. And behind that, a second kickoff return by Antonio Martin. So within that period of time, we had 4 scores. And, I mean, absolutely, a shootout over there. But in the end, the Bulldogs from Green able to hang on and come away with a victory.
4 scoring 7 days ago, man.
Yeah, what's interesting, Hoover has a decent ball club, but their record is just amazing this time of the year where they're sitting.
Yeah.
What are they, like 3-5?
4-5 and 1-4 in the league. Wow. And you're spot on, Rod. When I saw them week 1 against Buchtel, I thought, all right, you got a pretty good Hoover team. I think I know where you're going, and you are spot on. What happened?
Well, beginning of the year, right, when we started doing these podcasts and started doing games, and we thought Hoover was pretty strong. But with a 4-5 record, I'm surprised a little bit.
Offensive line, buddy. You think about replacing 5 guys coming into the season. Never an easy thing to do.
No,
it
it's
hasn't.
not.
It doesn't always work out in a favor like it has for West Branch or Northwest. Yes, Hoover.
Who's Hoover got this week?
Jackson.
They got Jackson.
Hoover and Jackson.
So
Hoover.
they have to win this week to get in. They're sitting at 14 in the region right now.
Correct.
So
And Jackson needs to win as well.
And Jackson, Jackson drops, Jackson's 9. If Jackson loses, they might. You never know. They might get bounced. I haven't seen the projections yet, but.
Well, we will talk about Jackson on the backside of this break. We want to remind you first that all Stark Media High School sports are presented by our good friends at Hilscher Clarke Electric Company and the Eagles FOE 190. Also brought to you in part by McNeill & Sons Tree Service, Lindseys Pizza, Apex Surgical, H&H Truck Parts, LPL Financial, Toth Buick GMC of Akron, and also CH Vallos Associates, TKDS Sports, Walsh University, Spirit of Stark, Kackley Insurance, Simon Says Promotions. Ooh, big one for the Simon Says Promotions crew this week. All right, we're going to step aside, take a break here at Nathan's Patio. When we come back, we'll start to dig into Jackson Central. They celebrated 35 years of that state championship team back in '88. For Central and Lowell Kleinfelder, we'll dig into some more here, and we'll get you ready for Week 10 of Ohio High School football. All right, we'll be back with more after this. Kackley Insurance is a locally owned home, auto, and life insurance specialist located in Cuyahoga Falls at 619 Portage Trail. Kackley Insurance puts their clients first, and as an independent agent, they are proud to serve their community. As a proud supporter of high school athletics in the community, give Kackley Insurance a call today at 330-929-6006 or visit them online at kackleyinsurance.com. That's KACKLEY insurance.com. And thank you for your support of Stark Media and high school athletics around the area. The Fraternal Order of Eagles number 190 in Massillon wants you. Stop down to the Massillon ARE at 303 Wyrick Boulevard Northwest. And like our over 1,800 members experience daily, your Eagles membership will give you access to great food and drink specials. Having a party hosted in our banquet facility and seat up to 400 people. When you're coming through downtown Massillon, stop by the Eagles and sign up. And for a small fee, you'll have access and be a part of a fraternity that donates over $100,000 a year to local charities. The Fraternal Order of Eagles ARE number 190 in downtown Massillon. Stop by or call us today at 330-832-7385. The leader in quality drivetrain components, H&H Truck Parts is a name you can trust. Located in Valley View, Ohio at 5500 South Cloverleaf Parkway, H&H can handle all your heavy-duty truck needs. Come in and exchange your transmission, differential, or power steering gearbox. But that's not all. H&H is equipped to handle all your parts needs. Permco pumps, Muncie PTOs, Neapco U-joints, Spicer yokes, new Eaton clutches, and more. Let the professionals at H&H Truck Parts handle your transmission or differential installation in one of their 6 service bays. Specializing in drivetrain repairs, stop by and have your drive shaft balanced, flywheel resurfaced, or your clutch installed alongside the best transmissions and differentials on the road. You know why they're the best? Because H&H is Ohio's largest purchaser of Eaton Fuller parts. Need a blower or a pump? H&H distributes Paragon and Permco brands. Names you can trust with your livelihood on the road. Call H&H Truck Parts today for the leader in heavy-duty truck parts and service. Call locally at 216-642-4540. Toll free at 800-601-4540 or check them out online at hhtruckparts.com. All right, welcome back here to Nathan's Patio, Stark Media High School Football Weekly. I'm TJ Downing, joined by Jim Bostic, Jeff Tyler, and Rod Strata. We want to make mention here that Kegs and Eggs this Saturday morning here at Nathan's Patio. Remember, they're right off of Market here on 30th Street across from the old College Bowl right here in the strip where you have Ben Franklin's as well, as they just shut down. But make sure to get here 8 o'clock in the morning. Got a lot of specials going on. Breakfast buffet, bottomless Bud Light, Coors Light drafts. The breakfast buffet is only $12. For the entire thing, the buffet and the drinks, if you get your tickets by Friday, $15 pre-sale, $20 at the door day of. They're going to have Bloody Marys, they're going to have mimosas, screwdrivers, Fruit Loops, the Nathan's McGriddle.
Fruit Loops.
PB&J, I know that's for you, buddy. And non-alcoholic beverages as well.
What's a Fruit Loops?
Taking care of everybody here for McKinley-Massillon Week, Massillon-McKinley Week, whichever way you say it. I don't want to get beat up anywhere, but you know what? Some people get pissed off about us.
I never used to correct that, but I have to now.
Hey, listen, I'm not adverse to taking an ass whooping here, but you know what? I dished a couple out too, right, Rod? You know,
right.
Take them and you give them,
you
man.
You know what? Sometimes you just got to deal with it.
All right, guys, so when we start to dig back in here, man, we talked before last segment, Jackson, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this Jackson-Hoover game goes, but Jackson went over there, figured they would struggle a little bit because they've been struggling a little bit. And Central Catholic's been playing some good football, even though they're playing up, obviously, with a Division I team. That game kind of shook out a little differently than what I thought, but again, celebrating a very special occasion. Not a whole lot of state championships here inside of Stark County. You look at St. Thomas, you look at the Bulldogs, and you see the Central Catholic Crusaders, and they celebrate the one from '88. Lowell Kleinfelder and his crew, they were able to get it done, man, and that's a pretty special moment to do that. Unable to get the victory, but how'd you kind of see that whole thing shaking out, Jim?
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't bring the towel today, Rod, because I would have had to wipe the egg off on this game. But, I'll tell you what, I mean, I picked Central to win that. But I'll tell you what, Jay Rohr, you guys have always talked about Jay's tenacious attitude, the fight in him. And he turned things around there for the Polar Bears. They stopped that 3-game slide. They come out interceptions by Kyle Andrews, Kyle Benson, Foster Stanley. Zach Sala had to step in because Mitch Brocker was injured. So Sala steps in, leads the defense, 10 tackles, 9 solos, and 2 sacks. So, again, defense truly stepped up. Eckerman started to switch back, a little bit to what you guys have talked about and seen him early on in the season. His first score with a 3-yard touchdown run, came back later with a 70-yard pass to Anthony Fueline. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it was all Jackson Polar Bears, and like we talked about last week, I didn't see that one myself.
Well, it's good to hear that Jackson's back a little bit, right? From when Jeff and I called a couple of Jackson games, and the first couple games we called, Menor, Mayfield, Jackson played extremely well on defense. The late game, totally different anomaly, but it's really good to see that, Luke got, 2 games this year so far that Luke's got sacked 10 times.
Wow. Yeah, right. Back-to-back games.
Back-to-back games. So kudos to the Polar Bears and Coach Rohr.
Song remains the same, right, partner? New O-line.
That's right.
You're going to get sacked a couple times. It's not always that easy, right?
It's not. I just think that I know we're partial to that. I don't know why, but we do know why.
Maybe it's because
I know why.
Maybe it's because when we were young freshmen and sophomores, we knew it's not easy. It's not easy to stop a dude across from you who's a senior, who's bigger, faster, stronger, and you're pass protecting. You're stepping backwards, and this guy's just running right through you. It's not easy.
Can't put enough emphasis on fundamentals, right? It's repetition. But anyway, we'll get away from that for a second. But it's not, you're right. It's not easy, and for anybody out there that's thinking about being an offensive lineman, you really have to commit.
Come talk to us.
Yeah, talk to us. We give you a little bit of counseling. But, no, there's no question. You got to have an O-line. And I just don't think from a fan perspective or an audience perspective, everyone looks at the quarterback, they look at the running backs, you look at the linebackers, defensive ends, some, maybe the defense side of the line, but when the game's over, they'll say, well, man, the quarterback did this, the running back did that. No.
There's not a full understanding.
There's not a full
what
understanding.
Just happened there.
Exactly.
And then shout out to both of you two guys always in our broadcast. You're exactly right. I mean, I write these stats. I just write all these stats down. And you're right. It's the skill guys, right? Yeah. But the skill guys don't do what they do without guys like you up front. And I really appreciate you always bringing those guys out.
So, that being said, are you willing to give us 5 of those points back?
Do not go into
right
pick'ems yet. Okay. We're going to talk about that segment 3, Mr. Downing.
I got 6 on eBay if you want to jump on there and purchase them. But,
wow. No, but that's so important, and they don't get a lot of love. They just don't.
It's all part of the game, right? But the thing is, it depends on how you watch a game, all right? I know from TJ and I's perspective, at least for myself, and I think I can speak on his behalf, you see the quarterback take the snap and all that, but we watch it in the middle. You can tell even if they give away their stance, if they're going to pass or they're going to run. All of that is right there in the middle if you watch for it.
Yeah.
You know where the ball's going if they're running it by following those guards.
Right.
You can see it all.
I'll tell you this. Hanging around you guys and seeing how you guys break games down. When I'm not on a mic, I watch it now different than I used to. I watch the interior stuff. When I'm on a mic, though, I'm watching the football and talking about the skill guys when I'm running play-by-play.
You have to.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's why we have teams, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, inside of the Pac-7, Triway went over to Northwest. We talked about Northwest a few weeks back when Josh Toth made that great pick for you.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you, Josh, again. For
well
that.
done, Josh.
Northwest, they were trying to bounce back after losing that one to CVCA, and then they fall again at Triway. Now, this isn't one of Triway's greatest teams, but Triway always plays everybody inside of the Pac-7 tough. And they went out there and they played Northwest tough. Jeff, and, you got to think about Northwest now. You've got Poochie Schneider rolling into town, so you have to figure out, redial in here, get refocused, figure out, what are you going to do differently here? Because I just think when you talk about the song remaining the same, it's with Northwest, figure out a way to slow Satterfield, and you've got a chance to win the football game.
Well, you've got back-to-back losses by Northwest, getting beat up a little bit, maybe losing a game against Triway. Maybe most thought that they wouldn't. Like you said, Triway, though, Triway's had a couple years of struggles, but they're on the come-up. I think they're starting to figure some things out, and they're hungry. But now Northwest is in a position where they're sitting at a 14 seed, and they've got to beat the best team in the county in their division to try to get into playoffs. So they're up against the wall. We'll see how they respond.
Yeah, I mean, that finishing with Canton South's a tough one, especially, early. Again, I'm going to go back 5-6 weeks. Northwest was fairly strong, right?
You're riding high.
Yeah. Riding real high.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, again, I don't know if there's how many injuries there are, et cetera, but not as high.
Yeah.
And now you're getting ready to play a top 3 team in the state of Ohio in their division. So, Jim, I mean, hey, strap it back up. Thankfully, I guess you have them in your own home confines. But still,
well, is home cooking going to be enough to stop Poochie Snyder? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know that home cooking, courtesy of Rick Wright, president of the Booster Club. I'm ready for that because he said, "Come hungry."
He did,
and I am, baby. I'm ready, Rick. I'm ready for you, buddy.
TJ is ready.
And one last thing about the Wildcats, right? They could finish their season perfect.
Yeah, that's big.
That's.
They're maybe going to be able to do it without having to have Poochie out there throwing the rock a lot, using his legs a little bit more. I think last week they used his legs a little bit more with that finger being beat up. But down the stretch, I think Canton South's got to use this as a way to figure out defense.
I think your partner will tell you, Dave Bircher, that regardless of how things finish with the playoffs, we all want to stay title, right? But to have a 10-0 ball club in a regular season, which they celebrated over there at North Kent, which he was on down there at Garraway with Don Hertler, it's a special thing.
It doesn't happen.
But
doesn't happen very often.
To be the guy that plays spoiler to that, you'll
fine.
never forget that. You'll be telling your grandkids about that. Hey, back in the day,
Grandpa was on that team.
Back in 2023, we knocked off the Wildcats in Week 10.
That's just like a batter ruining a no-hitter, right?
Yeah.
Well, as capping off that Triway Northwest piece again, Parker Kraft is a guy. I don't believe he played again. That high ankle sprain is still there. I think, again, he may be ready to go, with that group. So, again, as Rod said, injury's part of the game. You got to be ready. But could that have effect? And hats off to quarterback for Triway, Braden Holt, right? 27 for 42, 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. So, hats off to the Titans taking care of business.
Big game.
So for Louisville, they rolled into South Range. South Range, a defending state champion. That was a game. We understand what Chris Kappas has been up against this year. With his success coming out of Mount Union, going down there to Austin P, being an FCS or a 1AA offensive coordinator of the year in the country, to come back home to Louisville, where he's got family here, his wife's here, children here, and to take over a program that's been struggling. We knew that coming into this season. What is it going to take to get the Louisville football program back to what it used to be like in the John DeMarco days, where they ripped off a 10-0 season once or twice, with some great quarterbacks and great linemen. But they've struggled as of recently, Jeff. And Jim, I'll let you guys talk about this a little bit. But it's a confidence booster, regardless of what South Range returned. When you're going out there and you're competing with somebody who put hardware on their shelf, the best piece of hardware on their shelf last year.
Right. Yeah, South Range always puts a good team up. And like you said, I don't – of course, you all, as a coach, Kappas, you always want to get wins, and you want your boys to experience some W's, right? But he's also going into a program that's been down for a while. Used to be in some other bigger divisions, and now they're sitting at an independent. So he's got a lot in front of him to try to figure out, rebuild his program, get some culture in there, kind of like some other coaches did with other small schools. I think Kappas is able to do it. He's a heck of a coach. He's got all the pedigree that TJ talked about. But, those things take time when you go into a program that's been down and you're trying to build that culture and build them up.
Yep.
Louisville's always had a strong program. I mean, you think about Louisville Leopards, right? They were original in the Federal League when I played, and they've always had a strong team.
Yeah.
Right. Now they're sitting at 1-8, and they have Steubenville coming up.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Right. So I think that's going to be a tough way for them to end the season. But again, when you have a season like this, there's a lot of folks don't see the upside of it. The upside is there's a lot of great learnings to build from.
Whatever you want to know about Steubenville, make sure you go back, look at our YouTube channel, @Stark Media Team, #Stark Media. Go listen to what Matt Underwood, the play-by-play TV broadcaster for the Cleveland Guardians, said about Steubenville. Hold it for culture down there, okay? Go back and listen to Matt Underwood. It was great.
I didn't know how funny Underwood was, man.
Oh, my God,
he had
it was
me in
great.
stitches.
And go back and look. We also had a chance to hear from Killer Mike Doss this week. One of the by far maybe the greatest leader that I ever had a chance to be around on the football field. 3-time All-American, championships at every level, high school, college, Super Bowl. Great man, great person. Go back and listen to what Mike Doss had to say about this rivalry and hear what he has to say about the people out west. That would be pretty cool too. Go check it out on our YouTube channel. Check out all of our social medias @Stark Media Team on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Real quick before we forward on here to that team out west, Jim, look at some of these notes here, man. We talked about how Louisville came out and competed against them. The top stat line right there. It's a tough one to walk away with if you're Coach Kappas.
No, I'll tell you what. Dave and I are watching the score. I think it was the third or fourth quarter. I think it was third quarter. It was 8-7. Boy, maybe it was the first. And I'm looking at Dave and go, this is what they need. Come on, Louisville, hang on there. And then Dave runs through the last LPL financial scoreboard update, and I look at this score and I'm like, what the heck just happened there? I mean, that was 8-7. It's 38-8. And, again, we weren't there. None of us were there. We didn't kind of see how that broke out. But, man, 31 unanswered points.
Wow.
And like you said, T, that's a tough one to swallow.
Yes, it is. Now for Harding, they went over there to Massillon. Massillon obviously didn't get caught looking forward. They would open the game with a kickoff return for a touchdown. Fireworks were already shooting off there inside of Paul Brown Tiger Stadium as they just got underway. But, I believe they've had Mylan Lennox come back into the deal now. He's back healthy. Jameer Gamble, as I talked about last week, he's kind of planting his flag out here. Is like, I'm the guy. I'm the dude here running a rock in Northeast Ohio. Who cares about all these other guys? He's been lighting up the scoreboard. Offensive line's looking good. DeJuan, he is DeJuan, right? He's getting it done, right?
Yeah,
and
I like that.
Massillon's rolling, man. I'll tell you what. I know that a lot of people talk. This could be their year, right? Again, go listen to Mike Doss. He's going to talk about paper titles. This could be the year that they get that playoff state championship again. All roads go through Hoban. But and you got to still finish off here with this great rivalry this weekend on Saturday at 2 o'clock. But they handle business against Harding.
Super cool. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this past week where DeJuan was on a mic with the quarterback from
you
Cleveland
texted
Browns.
that out.
And they're breaking down his plays, and you can tell how I think you were telling me, or one of you guys were telling me, how humble DeJuan is and how good of a young man he is. But he was getting challenged a little bit on his leadership and saying, he said, I did this because my receiver did this. And he said, well, did you go talk to your receiver after that? And he said, no. And he said, that's your job. You got to go tell that receiver, I need you to do this in this scenario. So it was pretty cool to see and to see, how humble DeJuan was, but also for him to have some limelight like that and be in front of.
At least somebody was playing.
Yeah, but Deshaun Watson, right? I mean,
one of the two.
That had to be a heck of a thrill for him.
Yeah.
Zing.
Yeah, it's a new podcast he does. They bring guys on and stuff, and
that'd be
so
like
it was pretty cool.
Conrad Dobler on the phone with me back then.
Must see TV right there. Big time and Conrad.
Well, with Massillon and Harding there, what's kind of cool is, I guess the first half, Massillon running the ball, just pounding the ball, Gamble right back there. And then the second half, they kind of switched it up, or second quarter switched it up, and DeJuan goes to the air. In the second quarter, 3 touchdowns, 16 to 22, 277 yards. I mean, man, to be able to do it on the ground, in the air, makes no difference. They just make it happen.
They were tuning up.
Tuning up. Yes, the tuning fork.
Ready for the tune-up.
Michael Wright was in the backfield. Has he been in the backfield?
Yes,
prior to?
They have done that a lot. They did that a little bit last year, put him at that fullback spot, let him kind of blow through there, and just open a crater in the middle of the offensive line to be able to get your tailback into the end zone. They did that a lot last Friday night. Shout out to our boy John Lowry. John Lowry back in the deal, man.
The Pope is back.
Bringing us the heat from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, man. Shout out to you, John Lowry. We'll hear more from him as the wrestling season approaches. But, guys, our LPL Financial Northeast Ohio review. Another big one on Saturday. Moeller took on St. Ed's. That was a 28-21 ball game. Man, that was tight, but, wow. When you put two Titans like that together, and look, St. Ed's is going to have to take on Hoban this week.
Oh, that's right.
Wow. Right? Wow.
That's going to give us a little bit of an indicator.
Well, look, if you're not convinced with St. Ed's by now, with all the out-of-state top 3-4 teams they've played, they play Massillon again, on the road again. They're not afraid to do that.
But you got to do it every week.
They're doing it they're playing.
Week, yeah.
I mean, they're playing teams that are just legit every week.
Absolutely, but this week's going to be extremely telling.
It will.
But, Rod, you kind of think about this. You're playing Harding. You beat up on them the week before you get ready to play McKinley, right? But for Eds, they play Moeller, who's tough, and the week before they get ready to play Hoban. It's almost like, I don't want to really play Northwestern before I got to go and play Michigan.
That's
right.
Hey,
give me somebody like Michigan State or Wisconsin.
Hey, let me tell you what.
I gave you that softball.
Seriously.
How are we in the middle of this?
Stroke it.
We're keeping them from fighting. That's what
I know. Why are we in the middle?
Michigan State's like the Northwestern used to be, so I'm not quite happy with that program, but let's keep rolling.
Before you're getting ready to play your toughest competition, don't you want to play tough competition rather than somebody who's going to be, I don't want to call anybody a powder puff or anything, but I'd rather play a tight ball game that I win by a touchdown than a running clock game the week before I get ready to play my biggest game of the season.
Well, if you think back last year, Massillon, what did they do? They actually didn't play anybody week 9 last year.
Right.
And I think that hurt them going into the McKinley game.
And it was close.
I think they came out soft. They came out a little sluggish, and McKinley was after it early. I think it's actually helping Massillon this week to play Harding, week 9, going into,
And they stayed focused.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? The score doesn't indicate, or their performance is not indicative of them looking forward.
Right.
Hocus Pocus, man. That was your favorite song back then,
right? Absolutely. Look at this place, man. Nathan's is all decked out, baby.
This is absolutely a great spot to be, man.
First time here, boss. This is great.
So we got the Battle of Stark County, Massillon, McKinley, and then we have St. Ed's and Hoban.
That is going to be big. And when we come back, we are going to dig into those, and I'm going to cover this up here. Don't cheat, Jim Bostic.
Oh, wait a minute. You're using the term cheat after what we've went through with Pick'ems?
Hey, Rod, we're gonna throw these guys for a loop.
I like it.
We're gonna throw these guys.
By the way, there's nothing to go from. It's all live.
He's gonna switch it to college. He's gonna say like Wichita State versus whoever.
I thought we might get Australian football or something, right?
Middle Tennessee.
Ain't no half-speed drill here, partner, man. This is all the way live. From left tackle down here to right tackle.
Not only live, we don't know what's coming, so we're going to
absolutely
put this together.
Great.
All right, man. We'll be back here with more from Nathan's Patio. We're going to get a chance to break down some of these games. We'll have a couple more that we're going to preview here for Week 10. It's already Week 10 of Ohio high school football. Shout out to TKDS Sports. Make sure to check out all of our games coming up here this weekend. Jeff and Rod, they're going to be out there at Fairless as they welcome in Tuslaw Blue Cup. Jeff's going to have a special for you starting at 6 o'clock this week, kind of giving you the history of that ball game. My partner here to the left of me, Jim Bostic and Dave Bircher, they're going to be over there at Green as Lake and Green get ready to battle for Route 619. And then I will be out there with Mark Milano as we get ready to see South roll into Northwest, and I get to fill my belly up there with my boy Rick Wright. We're going to have some fun out there at Smilik Stadium.
These guys are going to be at the Blue Cup.
Yep.
We've got the Battle of 619. What do you got, the Belly Buster game over there with your chow down or what?
Yeah, the battle for antacids by halftime.
Tums.
The Tailgate Titans.
The Tailgate Titans. Here we go, man. Back more with this for Nathan's Patio after word from our sponsors. You came to Stark Media for the best? Well, now you got it. Check out Lindseys Pizza on 2827 Whipple Avenue Northwest inside of the Hillsdale Shopping Center. The preferred post-game pizza of the Stark Media team is open until 11 p.m., and it has all the essentials for game day. Pizza, chicken, salads, and sandwiches are just a click away at lindseyspizza.com. But you should trust the former Ohio State All-American and just call them right now at 330-477-3800. 477-3800. This is TJ Downing for Lindseys Pizza, and I approve this message.
McNeill & Sons Tree Service serves the greater Northeast Ohio area by keeping your property clear all year round. Do you have trees that have stretched too close to your home? A rotted tree that has to go? Or perhaps even storm damage? No job is too big or small for McNeill & Sons. We specialize in large tree removal, storm damage, stump grinding, land clearing, and more. McNeill & Sons Tree Service is fully licensed and insured, so contact us today at 330-606-1126 for all your tree care needs, or visit us online at mcneilltree.com to schedule your free quote. The professionals at McNeill & Sons can inform you of your tree health and give you a risk assessment to keep your family protected. So call today, 330-606-1126. McNeill & Sons Tree Service, a company you can depend on with family you can trust.
At C.H. Vallos Associates, we've been proudly serving the greater Stark County community for over 78 years. Locally owned, we cover your home, auto, business, and life insurance along with your group benefits. Our partnership with auto owners has allowed us to span not only Ohio, but throughout the entire country. Did you know that Auto Owners, an A++ rated company by AM Best and a Fortune 500 company, has ranked C.H. Vallos Associates a top 10 insurance agency in the state of Ohio? From your basic home and auto needs to insuring some of the largest companies in America, there's a reason people choose C.H. Vallos Associates and Auto Owners. Our dedication and passion for our clients and their coverage is part of our commitment to excellence. For all your insurance coverage needs, there's only one call to make, and that's C.H. Vallos Associates, located at 1302 South Main Street in North Canton. Contact us at 330-494-2776 today and see the difference in customer satisfaction. Welcome back into Nathan's Patio, Stark Media High School Football Weekly here. I'll tell you what, guys, I can't believe it's already week 10 of Ohio high school football. Like, when we start this thing up, we think about it all year long. Off-season training is so long. Winter workouts, you get into summer, training camp gets here. We've been waiting months and months and months for football. And you blink, it's week 10. Yeah. Playoffs are getting ready to start. It's rivalry week.
It is, and I mentioned this several times when I talk about, we would go back 5 weeks, 7 weeks. Here we are, week 10.
But it's exciting, though, because a lot of great things are coming up here, especially here at Stark Media with our good partners at TKDS Sports. We'll have some good announcements for you coming up next week as we get ready for the playoffs. But this week, let's start to dig into where we will be at. Canton South at Northwest, guys. Again, we think about what Poochie Schneider brings to the table, what Satterfield is going to have to do for Northwest. Rod, how do you kind of see this game shaking out?
Well, I think if Canton South could play some defense, it might be a heck of a day for Poochie Schneider.
Yeah.
That's where my head is right now. Now, South, again, they're 9-0. They can't go into this game thinking it's going to be a roller, and I don't think they're thinking that. But Canton South has an opportunity that I've never had to be on an undefeated team. And I just think if they stay focused, I keep bringing that word up, and they want to execute, I think it's going to be a Canton South all night long.
Jim, when you look at those numbers that you have there in front of you, but the opportunity to play spoiler, you're 5-4 on the season. You're the Northwest Indians. You've got them at home at Smilex Stadium. Yeah, what they say, lock the gates, right? and just throw everything you have at them. But you need to also do that because, as Jeff mentioned, you're sitting there at number 14. 16 teams get into the playoffs. You don't want to be on the outside looking in because you took that loss, although it would be a great loss to the Kansas South Wildcats.
Right.
Now, again, you talked about it a little bit earlier, being that spoiler, right? Coach DeMarco would like to get those guys together. I'm sure Satterfield and Kraft and Pappas, those skilled guys, the guys up front, like you said, go back to that front line, right? You said weeks ago, just they came out. This is their first year together to gel. They have gelled. They went through a little adversity. They're at home. Can home cooking be enough to go against Snyder and what he's got? Guys, Pucci, 62 yards away from 10,000 passing yards.
Whew.
I mean, that's just crazy. But, I'll tell you what, you guys know stranger things that happen, right? I mean, nobody would have thought that Glen Oak, love you, brother, but nobody would have thought Glen Oak would have beat, McKinley last week.
Right.
And do not count out a veteran like Coach DeMarco. You guys know that better than anybody. Hey. If Satterfield gets on a roll, Rod, you've talked about the Canton South defense. Jeff, you've talked about them, that in years past, that's what's been the stumbling block as they move on.
Yeah.
They better buckle up because I think the Indians are going to be coming out ready for bear.
Jeff, we talked about it before that we knew it was going to take a really special talent to come along and break some of Cam Blair's records.
Yeah.
And that special talent came way quicker than I ever thought it would be.
Right.
You knew you're going to have a guy who's going to start as a freshman, and you got to put up big numbers as a freshman. You have to have a base and a foundation there that'll be able to carry you to 10,000 yards.
Yeah.
And for Pucci, I mean, it's like, okay, it'd be great to have the regular season undefeated, but you see the competitor inside of him, man. And the high ranking inside the state. Tell you what, man, that dude wants a state title.
Yeah, he does, and he's a humble kid as well. We talk about some of the other kids in the area that are studs, that are humble, and it just seems to be the recipe. We look at across the board; these kids are really kicking butt. They're almost like they got media training. They are just humble kids. They can speak, and that just shows why they're leaders. They're out front doing things. I think he's like 9 touchdowns away from getting the all-time passing record for touchdowns.
Yep.
But if you ask Pucci Snyder, what do you prefer, these records, or do you prefer a state title? I'll bet you right now, he would say I would rather throw for 100 yards than get a state title.
I'll tell you the true, I guess you want to call it benchmark when you talk about players' demeanors and as a person, as a human being. When you speak to, like when we were at the South CVCA game, right, and spoke to a couple fans, I said, "What do you think of Pucci Snyder?" First thing that comes out of their mouth, he is one fine young man.
Yeah.
Wow. So that tells you everything you need to know.
If you guys said it, and I'm not recalling, apologies, Pucci, has he been picked up anywhere? Has he decided what he's doing?
Right now, he's committed to Sacred Heart, but he's got some D1 offers to come in. Eastern Illinois,
Army.
I believe, being the most recent one.
And he may have, and I have a suspicion he's going to get more.
I think
so
he will be, but I think Sacred Heart's a good fit for him. And I think it's a Christian school, and I think he's along those lines. I don't want to speak for him if I'm wrong there, but I think that's a good fit for him and what he wants to do going forward.
I don't know, man. I'll tell you what. I just think about the one quarterback that I hate more than anybody in this world. I'm not a hater, but I hate Tony Romo because he lost me $5,000 when he fumbled that snap against the Seahawks. Tony Romo, you out there, you lost me a lot of money.
Wow.
Boy.
Just put the ball down. Let the kicker
Rod,
kick
talk to him, Rod. Bring him down.
You got to do it responsibly.
Hey, 1-800
if you have a problem.
Gamblers Anonymous, 1-800-GAMBLE. Make sure you take care of yourselves out there.
Tell him TJ sent you.
But hey, listen. You come out of Eastern Illinois, you get picked up by the Cowboys, you get Jessica Simpson, you get $100 million, you got a Ferrari.
Bring it down, big dog.
Now you're calling games next to Jim Nance. Pucci, that's all on the table for you.
That's right.
Just don't fumble the snap, Pucci. Don't fumble it.
Because I will
One
find you.
step at a time.
All right, guys. Jackson and Hoover, I think this thing is kind of shaping up to be interesting, right? Because of the records.
Yeah.
Rod, when you think about it, you talked about, wow, Hoover. I mean, you had to think about this, that they're sitting there at 4-5. At this point, back in the early part of the season, we wouldn't have thought that. Jackson, early part of the season, what you saw, you wouldn't have thought that. But they're both sitting there kind of middle of the road right now, fighting to be 500. And a lot of great Jackson-Hoover games before have, whether they've been for the Federal League Championship, whether it's been for a great record at 8-2 or 9-1 or 7-3. This one I think is shaping up just to be a great game because of the roller coaster of a season that both of them have been on.
Right.
No question. Again, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to call a Hoover game this year.
Right. I was just go ahead.
And we have pretty seasoned on Jackson. I've had 3 of their games. We've had 2. I've had 3, and it should be a great game. I just think that Jackson made a nice comeback last week. Nice win, right? Again, haven't seen Hoover in person. but I understand they have an injury. They had some injuries. Maybe some people are coming back.
Yes.
I agree with you, TJ. This could be a coin toss, but again, based on my bias, only from witnessing Jackson 3 times, I think Jackson's going to give him a heck of a game.
I saw a little baseball over there, so you guys are actually going to be designated for assignment when Hoover, if they make the playoffs. I'm going to give those to you guys.
All right. There you go. You called it.
Right on.
How do you see it shaking out, Jeff?
Well, like Rod said, you had a chance, Jim, to see Hoover, right? What's their what's their defensive line look like? What's their front seven? Is it solid or is it?
Bryce Roach is great coming off the edge.
No, absolutely. I mean, the linebacker core is solid. They did a great job against Buchtel. They had a chance in the game against McKinley, if you remember right.
Yeah.
I mean, they were right there at the very end. So, I mean, I'm telling you guys this, you probably don't even have this in pick'ems, but, that was a big question mark for, for this.
I'm worried about what I got.
I'm about ready to go into hoops here real soon over at Walsh University. We're going to be some dorm games there and some high school stuff. And I always talk about in basketball, it's about matchups. With football, I talk about matchups, but I talk about different matchups. You're talking about offensive line versus defensive line, that matchup. How are they there? How are you on the corners, this and that? To me, it's going to come down. We know Jackson has a good defense. So we know Jackson can do some things to stop Hoover's offense, but can Hoover stop their Jackson's offense? To me, it's going to be all about that defensive pressure coming up the middle and trying to get to the quarterback.
It's given Luke Eckerman time to throw dimes, right?
Yeah.
If you can give Luke Eckerman some time, it's going to be a Jackson night.
Yep.
But if they pull, like Lake did and others, where they just get in the backfield against Luke, it's going to be Hoover's favorite.
Rivalry games are always tough.
No, I'll tell you what.
When you have them at home, it makes it easier, right, Jim? And now that we know that Zach Brocker, if he is playing quarterback and it's not Carson Derlin, he's gotten more reps at quarterback. I think everybody expected him to be the quarterback next year with Carson graduating, but he's got more reps. So
no, absolutely. And you guys talked about that a couple weeks ago by not having those reps. That kind of maybe hurt those couple, Hoover games. But the word is Derlin is coming back.
Okay.
Brocker goes back out. Now you got Ashby, you got Brocker, and I want to tell you what, we all know what Miraglia can do when Miraglia is ready to go. He's had a solid season, maybe not an outbreak like he had last year, but we know he's a solid runner. So, Jeff, you're spot on. I think it's going to be whose defense steps up.
Let me ask you here, partner, because, as Jeff gets ready to kind of transition into our basketball department here at Stark Media, and you and I kind of start to spearhead some of the wrestling and combat sports stuff, our guy Christian Friel, has he been playing on the defense for Hoover when you got a chance to see them?
Boy, if he has, I don't remember calling his name much.
Because I know that A.J. Dolph had been
injured.
Did we see any Bostic?
No, not. I mean, again, they were there,
Bostic,
but
I know a couple of those guys were kind of right in the rotation there. And,
right.
Unfortunately, it was tough to see A.J.
Now,
Dolph.
have you heard anything about Dolph? Is he going to be back?
I know he went down. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back for his wrestling season or not. But we'll keep those guys.
A little bit of pride here, right? Hoover's won the last 3 meetings, and overall they got a big league, 64-28 in the overall Jackson-Hoover series. So it's going to be a good one.
All right, guys, Tuslaw at Fairless. I know Tuslaw's had their struggles, but so is Fairless. So how do we see this thing shaping up?
Well, my alma mater, as you know, and I was real happy for Rod early in the season for us to be able to go call your alma mater and get you to see call a couple of the Perry games. I'm always excited when I go over to Fairless. That's the hometown. But this is a big deal. We realize it's not Massillon versus McKinley versus Massillon at that level, but it is for us. It is Fairless Tuslaw, and for us that's a big game. It's rival week, the Blue Cup. This is the 63rd time they've played against each other, so it's not just like they just started this. So 63 years is a long time. It's in a tight race. Fairless has gone 33, 28, and 1. So it's real tight. It just kind of swings back and forth.
It's the Blue Cup.
It's the Blue Cup.
How about the 619 Cup?
Well, I was just going to ask you guys, and I appreciate having the opportunity to be part of this football crew. You guys know, right? Wrestling's my gig, or soccer. I was going to ask you guys, the Blue Cup. Where did that name come from? What's it?
Fairless is dark blue and silver, and Tuslaw is light blue and red. So I think it's just really from the colors.
A lot of blues.
A lot of blues. No greens. Where's our greens, Rod?
I'm impartial on the mic.
Everybody's got the blues.
Jimmy B singing the blues.
Yeah. And right, going not to digress, but Jackson and Hoover, I understand that's the battle for the rail.
Battle for the Rail.
Okay, what is that about? Let's tell our fans.
Well, you know what? We got to do a little research on that one.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's like the Paul Bunyan Trophy or whatever trophy.
No, I'm just curious.
The Illabuk,
there was
the old Oaken bucket.
I talked to a buddy. He said something about maybe the train track that divides the two cities, and of course, as you said, Teej, the Battle of 619.
Jimmy B and Davey B out there at Green, man. I'll tell you what, I got to give a shout out to legendary athletic director Eric Musey, one of my all-time favorites, man. State champion at Glen Oak on the baseball team under Joe Gilhausen, and also star safety for Bucknell in college. I got a chance to talk to him earlier. I know you guys are going to be heading out there. What do we see here, man?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think we got a great,
better, man, but they got their hands full with Lake.
No, absolutely. I'll tell you what, every time I watch college football, right, we're always looking for the game 1-7, 2-4. This is 3v4. Same division, same region. There's a lot of implications for both teams in this game, right? I mean, obviously, if Lake comes out victorious, they share the Federal League title. Right, they win the Battle of the 619. I don't know if they take a piece of the road with them home, but they win the battle. But here's the big thing: they then become the number 3 seed, number 3 position, gives them 2 home games, and the big thing is it takes them out of Massillon's half of the bracket. Thinking about the old wrestling brackets there, right? So they're going to be down below, wouldn't meet to the finals. On the flip side, for the Bulldogs, of course, they would. Again, they would be the winners of the Battle of the 619. They, too, would then be the number 3 seed. 2 home games for those guys. And, again, so, guys, I'll tell you what, again, in that Pick'em area, a lot of weapons on both sides of the ball. If Baker and Christopher are running like they can, I'll tell you what, I think Green's defense has a lot to be careful of. On the flip side, the defensive backs for Lake better be ready because you got Baglia, you got Martin, even though you got the third-string quarterback, Hunka, who's really stepped his game up these last few weeks. Going to be exciting.
I don't share my notes with you, but I always look at your notes here, and 2 guys I see right here are going to have a monster ball game on Friday night, or A.J. Fortunato and Matt Galimo. Hands will be full trying to tackle those guys coming out of the backfield from Lake.
No, absolutely.
Linebackers got to be active.
Yeah, Nate Baker and company. I was looking at Green's schedule here, right? I mean, they've scored some points this year, and they've been in a lot of close games.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's going to be up to, I think, again, I'll go back to Lake defense. If that Lake defense comes out again, and they were a little sluggish in the first couple series against Perry. It just didn't seem like they were as crisp, but all of a sudden they woke up.
Yeah.
And if that defense comes out strong again, that's going to be a heck of a game.
We haven't talked much about special teams the last few weeks. Early on, we talked a lot about the kickers, right, and how important that was. Kickoff team, return team. Last week, like we talked about, Green, 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns.
That's big.
Both teams got to be geared up, ready to go. Lake has won 4 of the last 5 battles. Overall, they lead the series 17-9. So Dave and I are very excied.
You know what they get, Jim? They get to go down the road on 619 and take all the signs, 619 signs.
every player gets a sign.
So anyway, then when you go down that road, you don't even know what road you're on.
Hey, just don't get off on Maslin Road and try and backtrack going over there to Green High School because you'll definitely get lost there. You might blow a strut. That's
right, man.
And they need a few more circles over in Green.
Roundabout.
After that game, you're not going to know what road you're on.
My wife said that Green needs to be renamed as the Roundabouts because everything over in
sure. All right, hey, we got to break down the big one, right? Maybe the greatest rivalry in all of high school football across North America. Maslin at McKinley inside of Tom Benson Stadium, 2 p.m. Make sure, again, to get out here to Nathan's Patio at 8 o'clock in the morning. They're going to have drink specials, food specials, a full buffet. They're going to have a band later that evening, Country Rain. You're also going to get a chance to see the Ohio State-Penn State game on at noontime. So make sure to stop out here at Nathan's Patio. Great people.
Or you can watch Michigan State get just shellacked by Michigan.
Well, we're going to find out.
What do they play for in that? Do they do an axe? What is it?
Yeah, it's. I think that's the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I have a feeling it's going to stay in our armor.
You're going to need a lot of blue oxes in that one. The oxes are in the blue. I'll tell you what. If you haven't seen the Michigan offensive line,
let me tell you something. If that went the other way, I'd have a heart attack.
Next week, we have an empty chair.
Right.
Where's Rob?
Hey, at least the Spartans won.
Sponsored by nitroglycerin.
Right.
All right, guys. Massillon McKinley, how do we see this thing shaking out?
Well, I think it's going to shake out how everybody has thought all year. I think Massillon's going to take it to them.
3-4 touchdowns?
Yeah, I think it's at least a 3-score game. Massillon.
Spread out there, because they bet on this out in Vegas. Spread is at 20.
They do?
Yeah, this is the only high school football game that has been bet on in Vegas.
Really?
Wow.
The spread's at 22 points.
22.
Massillon's minus 22.
All right, so I'm right there.
I think, again, if the Bulldogs can stay in the game, it might be a little closer, maybe within a couple touchdowns, but this thing could be a runaway the other way. So,
Look, Massillon put 56 up against Glen Oak, and McKinley put 3 up.
You know what? Again, it's a rivalry game. I'm probably out of my mind, which I am. But
just blame it on the concussions. It's all right.
No, yeah, that was part of it, right? What? Anyway.
Dialing back.
No, seriously, this could be a 3, 4, 5 touchdown win for Massillon.
Especially coming off the backside of losing to Glen Oak 7-3. Your spirits could be sour after that one, man.
Guys, you're talking about a game. I didn't know this, right? Again, you guys have brought me into so much, at least in the football. 134 years this game's been played. This is going to be the 134th edition.
Just a couple years older than me.
Wow. And I think for me, for these two teams, and I've called Massillon twice, I've called McKinley once, the key word here for me is discipline when I watch the two teams. I mean, Massillon is so disciplined. I mean, let's go back to that St. John game, the way things, could have happened and how that blew up. But, they had one incident where the Massillon player did take his helmet off, but that was about after the 4th attempt of the benches clearing. But Massillon's team held their composure, did what they had to do. Just, again, that's a key word for me. Massillon is so disciplined.
Yeah, you're right. We haven't got a chance to see Massillon, have we?
Right, not in person.
And but, Jim, to your point, also what I read about in the McKinley-Glen Oak game, they got a little chippy at the beginning, right? And if McKinley comes out and gets a little chippy against Massillon, that's not going to work.
No. And I'll tell you another thing, and you guys talked about this with Glen Oak. Hats off again, Coach Garcia, the schedule he puts together. McKinley doesn't play near the schedule that Massillon does. I mean, you guys, you talked about it earlier and you guys how those better teams make you better. Iron sharpens iron.
With the exception of Avon. They played Avon early.
Avon. I mean, when you play a schedule like Massillon does, St. Ed's does, Hoban does, that's at a whole nother level of football. You guys know that better than anybody, but, this could be ugly.
Here we go.
All right.
Grief.
Dun, dun, dun.
Might as well close my iPad.
Please share with the fans what you did this week to the skill guys.
Here, I'm going to close my iPad because we got no notes on this one.
Yeah. Don't even close your iPad. Just close your eyes. Visualize.
Oh, boy.
Visualize yourself making the block, Rod.
Stark Media fans, just so you know, all right, it was about Tuesday that we found out that we weren't going to know what this is about today. So this is raw. This is raw pick'em.
This is raw. Jim knows not saying. Okay.
Well, let's get after it.
I think I can see where we're going here. Most everybody's going to take Massillon in this, correct?
Yep.
Massillon over McKinley. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's look around here. How about Hoban at St. Ed's?
Hoban on the road at St. Ed's. I'll go first. I believe in my head coach. I'm going St. Ed's.
I like the home team as well. I'm going to go with the
Tom Lombardo.
I'm going with St. Ed's.
They both play really good schedules. I'm going to take the Knights. I'm going Hoban.
Ooh, Jimmy B. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to this is tough. I think I got
you can't look at my circles anymore.
I got to go with St. Ed's in this ball game.
Just remember, we're down like a dozen, okay?
Can we use the word commanding yet?
Yeah, we're going to go St. Ed's here. Okay, well, it's not commanding yet. Remember, 9-0 ball games are a 3-point advantage this week. So easy, fella, easy. Okay, how about Lake at Green?
I'm gonna go with the Blue Streaks. I think they have a lot on the line to share the Federal League title. Green's got a lot on the line too for the, like you said, the rivalry, the 6-19 championship. Where is Green ranked right now in this?
4?
They're 4. So Green's in good shape in regard to the playoffs.
Yep.
So it's going to be a matter again of who shows up and who plays well. But I'm going with Lake.
Like Jim said, winner of this is going to have 2 weeks home. I think both teams are heavily motivated to get out of that bracket away from Massillon, maybe get into week 3. But I think Lake goes on the road and gets it done against Green.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with the Blue Streaks, too. I think the kids have all bought into Coach DeGeorge and his system. They've played hard for him every week. There are weeks they should not have won just because of injuries and so forth. Next man up has always been big for them. Let's go Blue Streaks.
Mark Geis spent enough of his days in the Federal League getting beat up by number 72, so he's going to get a victory on Friday night. I like the Green Bulldogs. All right.
All righty.
Jackson at Hoover.
Well, you know what? Great analysis by the team here is always this roller coaster back and forth. That was a big question mark. I knew you were going to ask this one. They're at Hoover, correct?
Yep.
Boy, I'll tell you, Derlin's back. Eckerman, they played well. Does Brocker come back? I'm going to go Polar Bears.
Nice.
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that conversation.
I know.
I believe it's very possible whoever loses this game does not make playoffs, but I'm going to take Jackson on the road against Hoover.
This game's going to come down to Jackson's offensive line.
And you've called that one all season,
unfortunately.
Rod. You've been on that all season.
Again, even when they gave him time, he's
still running.
He's running.
He's still running, yeah.
And he's, God bless him, he's only a sophomore.
Yeah.
I like this quarterback. But this is a hard one for me to call. I'm not going to go, you know what, I got to stick with Jackson.
Man, I'll tell you what, home team wins in this one, man. I think especially if Carson Derlin's coming back, I like the Vikings.
They're splitting us here. They're going back to that split game.
You're up by 50 points.
We're up by 12. We can split all day.
We're getting deep here.
It's
all right,
like
guys.
a poker pot. I'll split it.
Perry and Glen Oak. Who do we got here in Perry and Glen Oak? I'm going to go ahead and lead this one off.
Yeah.
Glen Oak Golden Eagles are going to finish this thing out here and get the win.
Yeah, I'm going to ditto that one. Unfortunately, my alma mater is I think with the Glen Oak having that great win last week, I hope they're not. I just hope they stay again focused on the game.
Yep.
But I think the Golden Eagles take this one at home.
I'm going to ditto Rod's ditto.
Boy.
Yeah, a lot of dittos here.
Ditto
but, Coach Garcia is really, you guys have talked so highly, and boy, they've really turned it around, and they're focused. And that's a big word Rod's been using here lately, and correct, Golden Eagles.
I'm with you guys. I think Coach Garcia, kudos to him, the job he's done keeping those guys together. After week 3, week 4, what they were looking at, and you start to look at the actual losses that Glen Oak has had, they've really only had one bad loss. Other than that, they've done pretty good. I got Glen Oak. Give me my Eagles, baby.
All right, here we go.
Wait a minute, is this?
Oh, yeah, that's the TJ.
What's this, TJ?
Talons.
All right, here we go. It's time. We're going to start getting ballistic here, okay? How about the second best rivalry in the state of Ohio? New Philly at Dover.
Ooh, that's a
all-time series. Dover leads New Philly 58-52.
That's it.
And respectively, New Philly and Dover inside of Division III Region 9 are 14-16. So implications there. Winner may get in. Loser's going to get knocked out.
There's a lot
New
of
Philly at Dover.
Yep.
Man, give me Dover.
You know what? I'm going to go opposite of that. I'll take New Philly.
Like the Quakers, huh?
Yep.
I'm going to follow my buddy Rod down there. I'm going to go with the Quakes.
New Philly. I'll tell you what. I like New Philly in this ball game, so we're going to stay with New Philly. Okay, here we're going inverted here on this. Well, we're going
inverted.
We'll keep it in state here.
What are you? Top Gun over there?
This is
Maverick.
This is a 9-0 game here, man.
Smile.
Hey, Pickerington North at Gahanna, 9-0 ball game.
Oof. Wow.
I'll go with the home team, Gahanna.
Pick North is always good. I'm going to go pick North.
I'm going with my skills partner, buddy. I'm going to go pick North.
Pick North. I'll tell you what. Home team wins in this one. That's Gahanna. Okay. What do you think they're doing out there in Maine here? I believe we've got
Wait a minute. Did you just say Maine?
They play football in Maine. Gardner
I think they
at
play
Coney.
football, don't they?
You got any records?
No.
Okay.
Gardner at Coney.
I'll take the home
It's
team.
the 120th matchup between Gardner at Coney.
Okay.
I got Coney.
What? You got Coney?
Yep.
All right. I think Gardner pulls off the upset at Coney's place.
I love Coney Island.
I love
Is there any? By the way, is there any onions with that?
I'm just going to say I love a good Coney. Little mustard and onion, on top there.
All right, make a pick, will you?
Coney.
Jim's going with Coney. I'll tell you what, I like Gardner too, man. I'm sticking with the G.
You got
Green,
people
Glen
in the
Oak,
garden, and you have
Gardner.
people eating Conies.
Okay, how about over in New Mexico? Down in New Mexico, Goddard at Artesia.
Oh, boy. How many years that been playing?
Actually, TJ, the joke's on you. I got a cousin that's playing there right now.
Where? At high school there?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. What are the schools?
Goddard and
Down
Artesia.
in the West Texas town of El Paso.
Give me Goddard.
Goddard.
Who's the other one?
Artesia.
I'm going to go with the Artisans.
The Artisans, okay.
Yeah.
Who can go against the Woolly Bears? Give me the Goddard.
You know what? I like Artesia in this one too. We'll go with the Artisans. Artisans versus the Goddards. How about down in Tennessee, Bradley Central at Cleveland?
Oh, I know where Cleveland is. I know where that is. I lived in Nashville for 10 years. So.
If it was Cleveland Heights, I'd take them, but I got to go Cleveland against who?
Bradley Central.
Somebody in Tennessee.
So you got a Catholic school who can recruit.
Yeah. I got Bradley Central.
You know what? I'll go with Cleveland because you know what? It's a good name.
Are these real schools?
We're going to find out.
What do you got, Jimmy B?
Would anybody out there please verify this list? Cleveland.
BC for Jimmy B.
Cleveland.
You're going with Cleveland? All right. I'm going to go ahead. I like.
It might be on the Mario and Luigi show.
I got to take Cleveland as well. Okay. Let's head down to Texas. Harlingen Cardinals taking on San Benito.
Oh. I don't remember them on Friday Night Lights. Let me think.
I'll take the home team.
Yeah.
San Benito.
I'll tell you what. I'll take the Harlots.
Harlots, okay. Harlingen, there you go. Jeff, you like San Benito.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got, Jimmy B?
I can't believe we're doing this.
You all right?
No. I'll take the team with two names, whatever it was.
San Benito.
Yeah, that's the one. Sounds like burrito. I'm good.
Okay.
Coney's
That's
and
not
burritos.
very respectful.
Yeah.
I like burritos.
No burritos, not sitting well in my belly. And
That-
Harlingen, I'm going with the Harlots as well. All right, let's take a trip up to Wisconsin.
I like it.
Grosse Pointe North.
I can't wait till I go.
Grosse Pointe South.
You guys had curds up
Grosse
there?
Point versus Grosse Point South?
Yep, North versus South.
I
Grosse
can't wait
Pointe.
till I go 14-0 again. I'll take South.
I'll go North.
I'll go north.
I like South. I'm going to go with South here in this one. Okay, where is this going to take us to now? We're not coming back to Ohio yet.
Can we go to Hawaii?
Let's go back. Let's go North Carolina. Page at Grimsley.
Grimsley. I like Grimsley. I like that name.
Yeah, tough.
Grimsley's a rock name.
Turn to Page. I'll take Page.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go page 2. Page 2. Page 1 to Jeff. Page 2 to Jimmy B.
Listen, for
How about taking the chapter then?
hey, for McKinley Week, you got to go with Grimsley. It's a strong name. It's
That's
the best
right.
ever come
It
out of
is.
that place.
That's right.
All right.
Also a Spartan.
How about up in Vermont? Hartford at
They
Rutland.
don't play football in
They do.
Vermont, do they?
Hartford at Rutland. What do you got?
Ooh, both good names.
Give me Rutland.
I'll go with Hartford.
Stop.
You know,
Hartford.
I think I got about.
What are you doing, Jim?
I think I
Hartford.
put 5,000 on that game anyway.
I'm gonna take Hartford as well. Okay, we're gonna take a trip back down to Texas here. DeSoto at Cedar Hill.
Why not?
Oh, DeSoto for me.
You just liked it.
I had
You
two-
had one, didn't you?
I had two Sotos a minute ago.
I thought you had I thought you had that car. Don't you have that car in your garage, your DeSoto?
No, that's not a DeSoto.
Oh, okay.
What do you got, Jimmy B?
Who was the other team?
We got
DeSoto?
We've got DeSoto and
Yep.
we've got Cedar Hill.
Cedar Hill. I'm going with the Hilltoppers.
Cedar Point.
Okay, what do you got, Jeff?
I got Cedar Hill.
Okay, I had a couple DeSotos too, so I'll stick with DeSoto. All right, final ball game of the afternoon here. We're going to do this one for Rod because the next starting quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines after their maybe Heisman Trophy winner this year out of Massapequa, New York. Massapequa and Farmingdale. Dan Villari. He's going to be the next big thing in college football. Make sure to watch out for this guy.
Where's he play?
Where does he play for?
He plays for the Michigan Wolverines now, but he went to Massapequa High School.
Massapequa. I'll go with Massapequa.
Okay.
I like that name. It's a nice Indian name.
Give me Farmingdale.
I'll take the one with all the syllables that starts with M.
It's Massapequa.
Massapequa.
I feel good with Massapequa, too, man.
Yeah, some people aren't well-traveled.
I'm going to head that way, too. All right, man, our pick'ems are in. We went a little crazy here this week, but hopefully it benefits us. Remember, 3 points for 9-0 versus 9-0 pick'em rights, okay? Hey, that's going to do it for us here at Nathan's Patio. Shout out to my guys, Jim Bostic, Jeff Tyler, Rod Strata. Great job as always, fellas. And a shout out to all of our sponsors, Hilscher Clarke Electric Company, Eagles FOE 190, Kackley Insurance, Simon Says Promotions, Walsh University, CH Vallos Associates, Spirit of Stark, Jim's Laughing, TKDS Sports, Toth Buick GMC of Akron, LPL Financial, H&H Truck Parts, Apex Surgical, Lindseys Pizza, McNeill & Sons Tree Service, and our great friends at the Leathernecks Nation MC, the Sam Center, Save22.vet. Get behind those guys. Leathernecks Nation with a big party going on this weekend out at the Eagles FOE 190. Make sure you stop out. Still some tickets that you can get. It's $20 at the door. Show up, come out, gun raffle, raffle baskets, prizes for best costume, veterans helping veterans, the 9th annual Halloween Bash hosted by the Leatherneck Nation MC Madu's chapter. We'll put that picture up for you on our different social media sites. Check those out at Start Media Team, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Also, make sure to get out here and get behind our friends at Nathan's Patio. They do a great job here. Kegs and Eggs starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday, leading you all the way up to the big game at 2 o'clock. Massillon McKinley getting it on. War of 1894.
That's it.
For my guys here, I'm TJ Downing saying so long. Been a great time. Week 10 coming up. Have a great broadcast out there, fellas.
Have a good weekend.
Show be
bless.
fun. Later.